let's give this a try. So the objective here is to create a round robin to assign contacts to different owners or different sales reps. But apparently Keap Pro does not have the round robin assignment. So I don't know what the trigger is for this campaign, but let's say it's, filling out a quote requesting a demo, right? Or filling out a form requesting a demo, or requesting a quote, right? So request demo. And then we need to assign to owner. So we can't use the assign to owner round robin. Apparently that's not available. So I'm going to try to do this with Zapier. So what we first need to do is initiate the zap. So trigger zap, and we will, we need the post URL. So we're going to create a new zap over here. And it's going to start when a webhook is received. So this is a catch hook. That's fine. And then we'll just copy this, pop it into here. And I think all we need to send is the contact. Actually, we also need to send the email. Yeah, we might just need the email. I don't know if we need the contact ID. So let's merge in the email address here, and we will set this as ready. Now, to trigger my zaps, to test my zaps rather, I like to just make a copy of it, and then I'll just hard code admin@monkeypodmarketing.com, right? Something like that, and ID 123. Like I said, I don't think we need the ID, and then you can just do test, and that way you know what information it is sending rather than like needing to add a contact to the sequence, etc. So I'll go to the next page, and we'll test this trigger. Okay, and the information did show up. So now that we have successfully tested the trigger part of this zap, I can delete that, set this as ready, and I think we're all set with that particular sequence. So this is basically passing the ball over to Zapier. Zapier is catching it, and then we can start our process. So the way that I'm thinking we'll do this is with a Google Sheet. And so what I'm effectively going to do is start with the current count here on this second sheet and start with it at 0. And so the zap will grab this number, and then it will add 1 to it, and it will find the owner from this sheet using this number. And then when the count hits 4, I will attempt to reset it back to 0. So that way it just rotates through those 4 owners. I haven't done this before, but I think I've thought it through, and so I'm hopeful that it'll work. But let's give it a try. So first thing we need to do is look up the value in that sheet. So this is round robin test. So we will look up spreadsheet row, and we will choose MonkeyPod Google Sheets account. There were 2 of them, so I'm not certain I'm doing the right one, but MonkeyPod Google Drive, spreadsheet, this should be round robin test. There it is. And this is actually the second one, count. It's the second sheet rather, so it's this one that we're trying to find. Current, the value is 0. So look up column. We might need to add, one above. So look up, and then we'll use the word current, and then it'll return back 0, count. Okay, so I'm not a spreadsheet guy, so I'm hoping that this is going to work. But lookup column, so we'll do lookup. That's great. Lookup value is current. That's going to be a static value because we always want it to find this row so that we can get that number. That's it. Test action. Apparently I need supporting. Oh, that's fine. Those are optional. Okay. So let's see what I got. Okay, that's correct. Current and 0. Great, so far so good. So let's add another step, and this time it will be math. So math. No, that's wrong. Oh, it is formatter. Great. This is what I need. Action. Numbers. There we go. I was going to say the end of a long day. It's 5:15 on a long day. So we're getting there. Math operation. Add. And we will add this plus 1. And that should give us 1 as the output. So test and continue. That's right. So now we will look up from this first sheet the owner, or the count number, which should give us the owner. Okay, so we want to go Google Sheets again, look up spreadsheet row, perfect. Monkeypod Google Sheets, continue. Monkeypod Google Drive, spreadsheet, round robin. And this time it is sheet 1. Lookup column should be count. Lookup value is going to be the output from the last step, 1. We don't need these other options because those are not going to change, or shouldn't change rather. And I'm using 4 owners, but you could obviously extrapolate this out to however many people you are round robining between. Okay, so those are all optional fields, which is fine. So look up and then show us the results. This should find owner 1, so it did, in row 2. So it found the right row and the right information. And you could, I have owner 1, owner 2. These could also be like user IDs, right? Or some other value that indicates who this person is going to be assigned to. But then, once you have owner 1, the next step is to update the contact. And I'm using Max Classic, but if that's because that's what I use. But the impetus for this scenario or solution was because Keap Pro doesn't have the round robin feature. So you would want to choose the Keap Pro integration. But we will update existing contact. So we'll choose in the Monkeypod account and continue. And then the key here is using that email from the catch hook to find and update the same contact. And then duplicate checking based on email. This is important. Opt-in, of course, this is going to stay with yes. None of these other values need to change. Now, I didn't create a custom field for to put this owner information into. So why don't we just pop it into some field I'm not really using. I'll just put it into this expand field. I don't recall. That was from a survey I ran a while back. But this would be where we would put owner 1, okay? And then you could also tag to indicate that this round robin has completed. So up here, when it runs, you can designate a tag that you want to have applied. So you could also create a tag in Keap and then choose it here to indicate that this has run. I'm not going to do that for now, but we'll just click continue and test and continue. And then back inside Keap, let's pull up Ron Swanson here. So Ron Swanson, which I believe is the contact that has that email address. So this looks like it successfully ran. So we should, on Ron Swanson's contact record, we should see owner 1 in, and I don't remember which of these. Oh, expand, owner 1, great. So there it is. So it did successfully update. That's good. So that means we have that information on the contact record. So if you were applying a tag, then you would just apply the tag here to show that it was done, and then do a round or a decision diamond into the appropriate sequence. So assign owner 1, and this would be obviously hard coded to assign to whoever owner 1 is, Andy, for example. And then you would have assign owner 2, and this would be whoever the owner 2 is in that manufactured round robin, and then so on and so forth for owners 3 and 4 or 5 and 6 or 10 or what have you. And then once you connect, so this would be, hey, the round robin complete. You can then get a decision diamond here, and in your decision diamond you would route them into the appropriate sequence based on the value in that field that should say owner 1, owner 2, owner 3. That's why I said you could also do like a numeric number. This could just be the ID of that user record, and then you could use that to route them into the appropriate sequence. If you aren't doing the tag and you just want to let them flow straight through into here, that's probably fine. But I would do like a 2 or 3 minute delay in this sequence just to give the Zap time to finish running. So let that post trigger, hold them here for 3 minutes, and then just trust that the Zap has run, and then the decision diamond will use the information to put them into one of these sequences. And that's and then you could consolidate back down to 1 and have whatever you want take place. So maybe it's creating a task to have the owner reach out to them. And now that we have the owner set, you can of course assign directly to the contact owner. So that's how I would do the round robin part. Now the key and the final step here is to make sure that this count is incremented so that the next person who comes through, it gets set to the next owner rather than continually finding owner 1. So let's do that. So close, and then we'll add another step down here, which is not letting me see that. There it is. And this is going to be to update that same row. So we will choose update spreadsheet row, and we should be able to we don't need to look it up again because we already did that in step 2 of this Zapier recipe. So let's do the same Google Drive. Here's the round robin test, and this time it is count again, and then row is going to be 2. Actually, that'll always be 2 because this sheet isn't changing. So it's always going to be 2, but the column is going to be count here. So row 2, look up count, and then this is going to be the output of that math. So continue, and then when I process this, we're going to see, when I run this test, we're going to see that 0 change to 1. So test and continue, and there it is. So each time this runs, that number will count up. And then the next time it runs, it'll count, it'll find 1, it'll add 1 to it, it'll know to update to the second owner, and then the process will rinse and repeat until we hit 4, at which point we want to reset it to 0 because there is no 5. So let's do that. So now I need to add a filter, which stops it. if the number is 3 or lower. So filter, and because if it's 3 or lower, we're good at this point. But if it's 4, that means we need to reset it. So choose numbers, output 1, only continue if number is greater than 3. So this in this scenario, if we test it, it's going to not continue, which is what we want, because the zap is fine at this point. But if it was greater than 3, then what we would want to do is set it back to 0. So find that same cell, update spreadsheet row, and MonkeyPod Google Sheets, Drive, MonkeyPod Google Drive, spreadsheet, round robin test, count, row 2, that's right, count back to 0. So that way, if it was 3, they come through, and rather than, wait, is it 3 or 4? Actually, no, it is 3, because when it's 4, maybe it's, I'm losing my mind. I've talked myself in circles, but either way, whoever's watching this probably can figure out the math faster than I can on the fly. But when we test this, it'll reset that number back to 0, and that's how this turns into a loop. So that is all we need for the zap. I would probably rename each of these steps, just because I find it confusing when they're all named lookup spreadsheet rows. So you might rename those individual steps to make it a little bit more visually digestible, but that zap is ready to rock. So we would flip it on, and then you could, in this campaign, you could trigger this process elsewhere. You could repurpose this by adding contacts to this process from multiple entry points. You could use this little widget here, this little package, to round robin out those owners. Obviously, this is pretty involved and maybe overkill for Tara's scenario, which is what prompted this demo. But I think there's some utility here, at least in instances where we need a round robin and it's not available natively. If you have Zapier, as many people do, or it's important enough that you're willing to get Zapier, then this should give you a workaround. All right, guys, that's it. If you found this helpful, drop a comment below. Let me know. Give me a virtual fist bump, or share it with someone who it can serve. Later.